Now, a lot of people might be a little bit intimidated to try to replace a tire on an e-bike, but it's really not that much different. I'm gonna go over step by step on what I do to replace a tire. The reason I'm replacing a tire, so I was camping and a fire ember piece came over and hit the side of my tire right here, blew my tire out and popped my tube. Now what I did, I took this tire off and patched it, and I have the Mach Wheel Obsidian bike here. So it is a true fat tire e-bike. So if it works on this, it'll work on a 21, a 20 inch, a 14 inch or whatever. The tires that I got are the Reinstalling 26 by 4 inch fat tires right here. I got the tires, I got the tubes. Now the tubes actually included the little tire remover tool right there. You don't really necessarily need that, but it's good to have it if you're actually wanting to kind of get down in those seams right here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and do the back tire first, because the front tire is basically like any other bike. You're just going to pop this off right here. Be very careful with your hydraulic brakes. Don't let that smash while you're doing it. You see what I did here? I just moved the display all the way so I know that it's not going to get hit on the ground. I put the handlebars on these little blocks to lift it up, so that way it's not on any of the shifters or anything like that. I put a little microfiber cloth under the seat. You can go ahead and remove the battery and have everything, but honestly, I'm just going to do this kind of quick and easy. And let me show you all the tools that you're going to need to get for this. I've got a flathead screwdriver. I've got this little cutter because you're going to need to cut some zip ties right here, and I will show you how to cut those zip ties. You're going to need some extra zip ties. I got 3 extra zip ties. I've got a torque wrench. You might not need a torque wrench if you can kind of eyeball it. Pair of gloves right here. This is the DeWalt 146 piece kit. It has everything you need to work on about everything, whether it's my truck, my van, or my e-bikes. I love this kit. I highly recommend it. Okay, let's go ahead. Let's lift this kickstand up. Your kickstand might be a little different. Be very careful when you cut these zip ties. Do not cut into the wiring. Cut that zip tie off right there. Cut this zip tie off right here, just like that. Okay, now that I got both those zip ties off, what I'm gonna do is unscrew this. Mine has a screw point right there. Just pull that out. You guys see that? Now be very careful when you put that in and make sure you line it up perfectly, but mine came apart easy. Actually, now it's kind of just like a normal bike. Now I'm gonna pull these off. This is where you might need to get the screwdriver. So I got this flathead screwdriver here and these little caps right here. Sometimes I have to kind of move them. You want those to be on there. You don't want those to fly off. Go right here. Perfect. Now these are spec'd. When I put it back on there, I spec'd them out. I'm not going to take it out all the way. Now, one thing you're going to want to really remember is your orientation on how all of this is done. This is done a little different than other, like a normal bike. You see how that kind of, yours, every one of these might be different, and be very careful with this wire right here that you don't break into that wire. This Mach Wheel is built fairly well, so I'm not really concerned with it. You see how I'm going to have to loosen it up to get this one off, and then I'm going to get this little screwdriver and I'm just going to pop those out right there. Let me go ahead and loosen the bolt on this side and then we'll take it off. Now, one thing I see on this one, you're gonna have to, I have to use a small little kind of Allen head right here and take these off. Like I said, each bike might be different. This one's probably done a little better than most because it's more of a premium bike, but I'm gonna go ahead and take these all the way off, just like this. Set them aside, then I'll take that piece off and this should be ready to go. Okay, I got the other side loosened up there. What I'm gonna do is just loosen this up right here. I need to get that little kind of holder out right there. All this is pressure fitted down in there. You guys see how that is. Obviously, remember all the orientation. Like I said, be very careful with that. Technically, this tire is ready to be taken off. I'm just gonna remove the chain like this, lift the tire up. It should come right out. Right like that. You might have to wiggle on it a little bit, but it will come out. This is why I wear gloves. It's for this reason. See, we're technically out of there. I just need to get it out from around that derailleur. Dang, this is heavy. There it is. You guys see that? The tire is out. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go ahead and clean this up a little bit. Now you can remove the valve stem, or you could do like me and just get a little wrench right there and stick in there and then deflate it down. I think that's enough to get the tire off. This tube in here is not any good anyway to get it off. Once it gets kind of deflated, this is what you would do right here. You see how I did that. Now I'm gonna go up under the valve stem right there, push that out. Now, check out how easy you can just pop that out, everybody. Just like that. Now let me show you what was going on with this. So you wanna check over all of your rim kind of tape right there and make sure all that looks good. You can see all the PVC 26 by 65, all of that tape, it's covering everything. Keep your rim nice and secure. I'm gonna set it down right over here. Try not to put it down in the dirt anyway. Let me show you what was going on with this. You guys see where I kind of did a on the side of the trail or in a campground patch right there? I just patched it with one of these little tire tools like that. You guys see that? So that worked. That got it. This tire's actually not in bad shape. It's just got a hole right there in the side of it. So this one's gone. Throw this tube away. Get my new ones right here. These are from the Hyson right there. Make sure all my tube matches up before I go any further. These are 26 by 4 inch, so this is the correct tube. So we'll go ahead, put this tube. Let me grab the other tire and let's get this thing ready. They came packaged just like this right here. I cut the zip ties off, set it in the sun and let it get a little warm. You can see the rotation right there. That is the rotation going forward. So remember, this is gonna go forward. So I'm gonna be mounting this side. Make sure you line this up perfectly. Rotation, where's it at? Rotation right there. Think of it rotating that way. So it's gonna go on like this. That will go on just like this. So now I know the rotation that it's gonna go on. Let's try to get it down, get the rim down in there first. Let's inflate this tube up just a little bit and give it a little shape. Obviously, I'm not gonna inflate it all the way. I'm just giving it a little shape to fit down in there better so it's not flat and I don't end up pinching it. It's good enough for me. I'm gonna locate the valve stem hole right there. Some valve stems, you know, you could put Presto valves on them. Some valve stems might have a little kind of like nut that you could put on there, but this one does not. This comes the tricky part right here. Now I've got to get this side bead down in there. This is where these tools help out a lot. What I'm doing, I'm just making sure it's all seated down in there. This is going to be the most important part. I didn't mean to do that. Be careful not to do what I did right there and stick your bolt. I'm gonna get a brush and clean all that off before I put it back on, by the way. I'm gonna inflate it, and as I'm inflating it, I'm just gonna kind of like mead this outside. I'm just gonna mead this outside edge and make sure it seats down in there. Now you can see you wanna inflate up to 20 PSI on these. Do not exceed 20 PSI on these fat tire e-bikes. That's what they're almost always rated for. I'm gonna stop that one at 18. I'm gonna go around, make sure that it's nice and seated down in there all the way around. The rotation logo, that means it's going this way while we're rolling forward, so we know we did it right. Little brush that I got, make sure I clean my rotor. I'm gonna go over my rotor with some alcohol pads, clean that rotor off, and then we'll set it back in there, and I'm gonna repeat the process of what I did to take it off. We are done, so let's do that now. Gonna run it down. Remember, there's a cap that I need to get right here. Okay, now that I've got kind of like the little locking mechanism, now I'm gonna go ahead and put the nut back on. Make sure you put your washer and your orientation was exactly like you had it when you took it off. Nice and smooth going on. Now I am gonna torque these bolts. Now that I got it just kind of like finger tightened, watch your cord right here. I'm just gonna kind of test it. Put this back on, make sure that we have our, and everything's working. Look at that, that is smooth. We're at 45 Newton meters. Let's go ahead and let's go down. Most e-bike hubs, you're gonna go about 40. 40's okay on there. So get our wrench. Perfect. Well, now I'm gonna put some dielectric grease on here. What this does, this helps with waterproofing, lubricating, sealing. I'm just gonna drop a little bit down in there on the fittings. You don't have to do much. Put some of that on there. Now's where you want to be perfect. You want to line this up. Now, usually they have a mark on them. Mine is pretty level. You can't go wrong with it. It just goes, it only goes in one way, but yours might have arrows that point. Actually, this one has an arrow right there and an arrow right there. So it's got it on there too, but it's also got this little screw. I really like how Mach-Well did their fittings right there. Now you see this right here. I'm gonna put a new zip tie there and a new zip tie right back here, and we are done. Okay, before I move on to the front tire, I'm just gonna do a quick inspection of everything. Make sure the zip ties are on there nicely. The motor cable's connected. The other cables all look good. The rotors, the brake pads are lined up. Nothing's rubbing. The wheel is nice and true. You see that? These are pretty true wheels anyway. Now, don't let these e-bike motor tire replacements kind of like discourage you from trying to do this yourself. I did it with just basic hand tools. There was nothing complicated about it. You want to be very careful with the motor cable when you're unplugging it and moving it around. Make sure you get it all perfect. Don't just start yanking on it, and be very gentle. Maybe you have to nudge on it every now and then. I kind of hit on it to kind of loosen all of this up and get it all going. I'm going to go ahead and oil the chain up, and then I'm going to replace the front tire. You guys leave in the comments below if you've seen anything that I did that might, you know what, go a little better, a little smoother. But right now, I think it's gonna work because I've already taken this off once, repaired it, and put it back on. So I think I can figure out how to put a tire on. So yeah, there it is, everybody. That's all I got on the Hyson, 26 by 4 inch e-bike how-to fat tire replacement. Tube also. See you all in the next video.